If youth knew, if age could. Most people do not really want freedom because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. From error to error, or one discovers the entire truth. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. If you can't do it, give up. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. Everywhere I go, I find a poet has been there before me. With words, one man can make another blessed or drive him to despair. Human beings are funny. They long to be with the person they love but refuse to admit openly. Some are afraid to show even the slightest sign of affection because of fear. Fear that their feelings may not be recognized, or even worse, returned. One thing about human beings puzzles me the most is their conscious effort to be connected with the object of their affection, even if it kills them slowly within. Consequently, the first human being who hurled an insult instead of a stone was the founder of civilization. Rather than living our lives, we are lived by unknown and uncontrollable forces. There are no mistakes. The goal of all life is death. I cannot think of any need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Love and work are the cornerstones of our humanness. Love and work, work and love. That's all there is. Whoever loves becomes humble. Those who love have, so to speak, pawned a part of their narcissism. Love is a state of temporary psychosis. My love is something valuable to me, which I ought not to throw away without reflection. Not all men are worthy of love. How bold one gets when one is sure of being loved. The virtuous man contents himself with dreaming that which the wicked man does in actual life. Dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. Dreams are often most profound when they seem the most crazy. Everyone has wishes which he would not like to tell to others, which he does not want to admit even to himself. Dreams are the guardians of sleep and not its disturbers. They are concealed realizations of repressed desires. The Irish are the one race for which psychoanalysis is of no use whatsoever, because they already live in a dream world. The dream acts as a safety valve for the overburdened brain. The dream units the grossest contradictions, permits impossibilities, sets aside the knowledge that influences us by day, and exposes us as ethically and morally. The dream is the liberation of the spirit from the pressure of external nature, a detachment of the soul from the fetters of matter. The mind is like an iceberg. It floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. Beauty has no obvious use, nor is there any clear cultural necessity for it. Yet civilization could not do without it. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. The most common form of repression operates not at the level of the individual psyche, but at the level of society. The ego is not master in its own house. Neurosis is the inability to tolerate ambiguity. A man should not strive to eliminate his complexes, but to get into accord with them. They are legitimately what directs him conduct in the world. The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. Public self is a conditioned construct of the inner psychological self. All family life is organized around the most damaged person in it. Psychoanalysis is in essence a cure through love. I have found little good about human beings. In my experience, most of them are trash. The madman is a dreamer awake. Properly speaking, the unconscious is the real psychic. Its inner nature is just as unknown to us as the reality of the external world, and it is just as imperfectly reported to us through the data of consciousness as is the external world through the indications of our sensory organs. History is just new people making old mistakes. The mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. The mind is powerful, and it is only by understanding and harnessing its power that we can truly live our lives to the fullest. He that has eyes to see and ears to hear may convince himself that no mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips. Betrayal oozes out of him at every pore. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. The only person with whom you have to compare ourselves is that you in the past, and the only person better you should be. This is who you are now. Thought is action in rehearsal. In the small matters, trust the mind. In the large ones, the heart. We choose not randomly each other. We meet only those who already exists in our subconscious. Dogs love their friends and bite their enemies, quite unlike people who are incapable of pure love and always have to mix love and hate. The scope of one's personality is defined by the magnitude of that problem, which is capable of driving a person out of his wits. We are what we are because we have been what we have been. When inspiration does not come to me, I go halfway to meet it. When we attempt to imagine death, we perceive ourselves as spectators. When we attempt to imagine death, we perceive ourselves as spectators. The tendency to aggression is an innate, independent, instinctual disposition in man. It constitutes the powerful obstacle to culture. Destiny are strong so long as they represent a strong idea. They become powerless when they oppose it. When I am criticized, I can defend myself, but I'm powerless against the praise. Civilization began the first time an angry person cast a word instead of a rock. That has eyes to see and ears to hear may convince himself that no mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips. Betrayal oozes out of him at every pore. The goal of all life is death. What a distressing contrast there is between the radiant intelligence of the child and the feeble mentality of the average adult. What progress we are making. In the Middle Ages, they would have burned me. Now they are content with burning my book. Just as a cautious businessman avoids investing all his capital in one concern, so wisdom would probably admonish us also not to anticipate all our happiness from one quarter alone. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief.
Sigmund Freud, the Austrian neurologist and founder of psychoanalysis, revolutionized the understanding of the human mind. In his seminal work, The Interpretation of Dreams, Freud delves into the complexities of the unconscious mind and the significance of dreams. One of his most famous quotes encapsulates his view on dreams: "Dreams are the royal road to the unconscious." Freud believed that dreams provided a gateway to hidden desires, fears, and unresolved conflicts within the psyche. His exploration of the unconscious mind laid the foundation for modern psychology, influencing therapeutic practices and contributing to our comprehension of the intricate workings of the human psyche.